Thanks for joining us for this week's or month's O.A.T.S live talk. Hopefully we get some more people in soon. But we're going to start off with introducing everyone on the panel so far. And we'll go with Tina first since it's your face on my screen.
Amazing. Is there anything you're looking for from, I guess, just the general?
Yeah, just who you are, where you work, what you like to do, anything you want.
Oh my God, I'm a Taurus. Hi, I'm Tina. I work at Atomic Cartoons. I've been there for about 2.5 years. I'm part of the storyboards team, and I'm a revisionist, and it's super fun, and I love to draw outside of work, which is why we're all here to talk about all of that, I suppose. So that's me.
Yeah. We'll go to Mackenzie next.
Okay, well, my name's Mackenzie. I work at Mercury Filmworks as a 3D artist, so I get to do 3D animations and modeling and rigging. I love what I do, but I really love design, especially character design. So, of course, after hours is a lot of drawing on my own time. And lately, to keep myself sane, I've been getting into fitness. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Awesome. And then finally, Austin.
Hello, I'm Austin. I work at Atomic. I've been there for just about as long as Tina has been. I'm coming up on 2.5 years. I started as a character animator, but now I'm in FX, and it's awesome. And I also like to draw outside of work.
Great. Oh, so I'm gonna start off by asking, because you all have very different jobs actually in the industry, which is exciting. How big of a part does drawing take place in your job? And we'll go to Austin since you just left off.
Like now pretty big because FX is all hand-drawn stuff. It's all compositing and whatnot. I am nowhere near a master at compositing, but yeah, FX is mainly just drawing like small things, getting bigger, and then slowly petering out. And I just really love that.
Mm-hmm. Tina?
I draw a lot for work. It's interesting because I feel like this panel would have been, I'd have a lot of different answers if you asked me 6 months ago, because I'm in a new-ish job, and part of being the revisionist, part of being in the revisionist team is you're putting out a lot of fires. There's like a bit of downtime, and you're always essentially getting like a hectic email from your boss being like, we need to fix this right now, and I need you to draw this from like a completely different angle. So it's a lot of drawing challenging things like on the fly. So it's been super crazy, but a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. And Mackenzie?
Yeah, so mine has a lot less drawing. Being a 3D artist, you work all in Maya. So 3D software doesn't require any hands-on 2D drawing skills, but we do deal with texturing. And I think it's really, really helpful if you have a knowledge and you are decent at working with Photoshop or understanding like, you know, how to warp things, or something doesn't look good, or even, how do I say this? Like matching BG textures, background textures. Sometimes things are very painterly or have a certain look to them. And if you have an artistic eye and you work on your painting and drawing skills, like I think it makes it a lot easier to texture 3D objects, understanding how it was done or breaking it down with the brushes that you have. So I'll say it comes in handy, but I don't do any designs, or I don't do hand drawing stuff. I follow designs that I'm given and build that. So
cool. Yeah. For the next question. Sorry, everything is moved out of the way on my computer. Yeah, so my second question, I'm going to throw it back to you, Mackenzie. Do you like to draw outside of work? Which you already answered in your introduction, but what kind of stuff do you like to draw outside of work?
Okay, well, drawing outside of work is very much like the happy place. It's the place that I challenge myself, but also draw a lot of times within my comfort zone. So I'm going to just say I love drawing girls. I mean, I think girls are always fun to draw because they're so they can either be like really strong and thick or curvaceous or petite. And I find the proportions are a lot more fun to play with. But again, that's just what I'm used to. That's what I draw a lot. So I gravitate towards that, or like spooky stuff. I love Halloween. So yeah, that's kind of where I stick, just in that comfort zone of girls, pretty much.
Yeah. Awesome. What kind of stuff do you like to draw outside of work?
A lot of fan art. If anyone who follows my Instagram, you definitely know that. And there's really no, I guess, outside of, you know, the new She-Ra show, there's really no consistency with my fan art, because it's really just like whatever character I find appealing, and what, like, oh, who do I want to draw today kind of feel. Like, what's a character I've been sleeping on for a while, and I just scroll through my saved Instagram photos, because I have a million photos like of like character reference and stuff like that, and I just see which one appeals to me the most, and it's usually how I do it.
Awesome. And Tina, what kind of stuff do you like to draw outside of work?
This is such an interesting question, because I feel like if you were to look at my Instagram feed, it's very binary, where you can tell if I'm drawing for me or for work. Because I work in a 2D space and it's very like digital, it's very pencil paper. Sometimes when I'm at home, I'm like, okay, I need to be working on perspective. So I'll try to draw characters in certain perspectives to like build that toolkit, so to speak. So if you look at my Instagram, you'll see scenes I'm trying to like draw and BGs I'm trying to improve upon. And then you'll see like a lot of cats and just a lot of I love kind of low brow humor. So I love like drawing Furby and Hank Girl inspired line work, like very bizarre blue collar stuff is the like PG way of like describing it. But yeah, I would say like drawing outside of work, like sometimes it feels like a labor for work, but when I do dedicate it to myself, like it's always adhering to styles that are like not work friendly at all.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And to be like as professional as possible when talking.
Mackenzie. So when you are working from outside of work, how do you find the time and the energy to do your own personal art?
Yeah, that's it can be hard sometimes. I find like, because I'm trying to work towards a goal of potentially getting into a design field, I always kind of have this little fire underneath me, like, oh my God, I feel bad. I haven't drawn in a while. So sometimes it's a matter of me guilting myself into, hey, I haven't worked on this in a while, and that's really bad. So let's either get on it, or sometimes I sit there and I think, like, what inspires me? Or I'm feeling really dry lately. Like, I do like mental check-ins with myself and my art. Because at the end of the day, we draw for fun. We draw to like let something creative and colorful out. And so, because the rest of your day can sometimes be so mundane. So like what drives me is just the passion to do something different. And also just be better than what I am now and not get stale and ugh. So yeah, that's the only like way I find that drive at the end of the day is like, okay, mental check-in. When was the last time I drew? Oh, it's been a week. Okay, well, what inspires me? All right, maybe I watch a movie, or maybe I listen to a podcast talking about art. Maybe I listen to Aaron Blaise talking about animation and how he approaches things, because the way he talks about animation and movement and drawing and the feeling of weight and all that stuff, like sometimes that gets me going and that gets me inspired. Or I'll just listen to it while I'm working and I'm like, yeah, like I kind of want to draw because I want to see if I can do that. Like I'm feeling it too. So yeah, sometimes I have to reach for like outside help, which is like listening to other people talk about their passions for drawing, and then I'm like, yeah, I have that, like I want to draw now. And then so I'll just save that, I'll bottle that for later. And I'm like, okay, just get out the iPad, draw a couple little things, and next thing you know, it's like hours later and I've drawn a full color piece. So sorry for the ramble, but
oh, no worries. Take as much time as you need for answering these questions.
Okay. So, yeah, that's fine. Sometimes I ramble and then I'm off over here. I'm like, wait, what was the point of the question? And then
No. I mean, you've answered a question that's later down the line too, so it all works out.
Sorry, I could probably still elaborate on that because I'm chatting, but
fair enough.
I'll be like, Yeah.
Yeah, Austin. So how do you find the time and energy to work outside of like work on your own personal stuff outside of work?
I actually heavily identify with what Mackenzie said about like I want to see if I can do that, because sometimes I'll just see a piece that an artist did and maybe I'll just really like the color theory and it's just like
Yeah.
I gotta try that. But if not that, and let's say I'm in kind of a creative rut, I've had like a really long day and I'm not really in the drawing zone. What I'll usually do is I'll just get like a pencil and paper or just go on my tablet and I'll just start drawing a really generic character with really no descript features or facial expression, just to get my hand moving, just to get, something out there. And I'm not really, the key is to not force inspiration, because if you do that, you're not gonna make anything you're proud of. It's mainly by doing this like simple little character. I'm searching for inspiration. I'm seeing if like what can I do here? Am I feeling the drawing vibe today? And if you're not, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's mainly just it's just like a trial and error sort of thing. It's like, okay, let's see if this works out, and then you'll start drawing, and maybe you keep on drawing, and then it evolves into something greater, and then you got your shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll pass the question off to Tina too.
I love everyone's sentiment, so I'm gonna sound like a broken record. There is something so infectious about listening to an artist gush about the art they like Aaron Blaze talking about movement is like, if you're in an art rut and like you're not super sure how long if that rut isn't burnout and maybe just a rut, like there is nothing like seeing somebody gush about the art they love to make you inspired. Like that's why we want to, right? Like do.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like as you guys are talking, I'm just like, yes, I want to draw.
Yeah.
I went a tool I genuinely use, because I feel like whenever I listen to people talk about like for example the panel we're on today about like drawing, like I think everyone here is doing such a good job at being like, these are the actual tools I use. I'm not speaking really vaguely. And like when I want to draw and I'm burnt out, I'll honor my body and be like, I am burnt, I cannot draw. But a genuine like mathematical tool I do is I'll sit down, I'll have a piece of paper and I'll be like, this is not going on Instagram. No matter, like I'll honor it and be like, whatever I draw today will not be going on the internet. And that is such an awesome tool for like, I feel inspired, I want to make something, and not having the pressure of maybe showcasing it to other people is really helpful, because when I'm drawing, inevitably, like we all work in an artistic field and we want to always be pushing and signaling to other people we're moving forward, and that can feel kind of heavy. So
Yeah.
to be a bit of a rambler as well, like when you set those parameters in the beginning, like I find that can really be like such a creative aid, like Mackenzie was saying, like when you're just drawing to be creative and like to find things that inspire you and just honor that. I find that to be such a helpful way to make it more fun, to honor why we got into the industry in the first place. And I'm not sure how many people are like students or like also in the industry or just like onlookers, but those are tools I find that are very helpful.
Yeah.
Ramble.
No, it's all good. So for a follow-up question to this, and more particular of how we all work in a creative field. So it can sometimes be hard to have creative energy working outside that creative field. So Tina, how do you feel being in a creative field and trying to do creative things outside of work?
I'm going to start talking about capitalism. You, Austin.
That was the best start to any sentence.
We can't
I didn't expect that. I'm sorry.
Share it with anybody. I've been thinking a bit about, like, in prepping for today, I was thinking about like not necessarily finding the time within a crazy schedule, because like I was a student too, and it's not necessarily finding the time, but like when you have a very creative job, sometimes that job can over ask what you should be giving. And I think through all of our journeys, like acknowledging within yourself what is enough versus what is perfect, what is enough of you to give as a good employee and still have time to draw is very important to identify. capitalism. I think like I love my studio, not slamming like any industry in particular, but I think there's a lot of importance placed on doing a good job at work to like climb the ladder and to get really good at your craft. But I think like prioritizing your health and happiness is a huge aid. Like once I stopped pulling 12, 13, 14-hour shifts at work, that's when I found I had much more time to draw stuff I really liked. And I could start taking commissions on the side. I don't know if I'm alone in this, but I found that was like a huge help in making art for myself, was being a good, consistent employee that like wouldn't push all the time and that get really burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mackenzie, how do you feel about working in a creative field and trying to find the creative energy outside of that field?
Yeah, so I'm gonna touch on what Tina was saying, but it's basically just, I found it's just setting those boundaries for yourself. I have always been a perfectionist when it comes to art, and I haven't always been perfect, but I've always really tried to achieve perfection, and I have a really hard time of letting things go when I know it's not, everything's checked off. So when I got a job in the industry, I wanted to be the best I could be. I still do. I wanted like everyone to see that I had value to the team. I was an asset. Like, damn, this girl's a hard worker. And she brings a lot to the table. But at the same time, you can't bring your whole self. There are limitations, I think, when you get into a certain role. Like, obviously, I can't just start doodling characters at my desk. I have to stay within the 3D realm. But you do have to set a boundary of like, at the end of the day, I need to shut down, shut off. No, it's not going to be perfect. But when I show this to my supervisor tomorrow or in 2 days before the deadline, they're going to be happy with the product. Just know that it's at the level that it's professional and it's done well, but don't kill yourself over it. If you can't do something, if you can't fulfill a promise, then you really need to speak to your supervisors and be open and honest and communicate, because they're going to appreciate that more. Hey, if you don't have the, maybe skill sets, or if you're not going to be perfect, hey, that's okay. But I just need to know if either A, you need more help, B, you need more time. Like, why waste time focusing and trying to perfect something you're never going to be perfect at? So ask for help, communicate, know when to shut off, shut down, and respect your own at-home time. Like, respect your time after hours. Go home, decompress, take a bath, take a nap, do whatever you got to do. Take a bike ride, and then you can kind of like refresh your brain and be like, all right, now what's for me? Like, what's getting me inspired? What did I think about earlier today that made me feel good? Like, what do I want to illustrate? And make sure you carve out time for yourself for that. Because if you don't know how to shut off, if you don't know how to say, all right, my work hour is done here, I've done my best, and leave and just shut that part of your brain off, like, you're never gonna have the creative energy for yourself. Like, you kind of have to really draw the line in the sand. Yeah, we all want to do great and be awesome at our jobs, but you can be without burning yourself out, and you can still have projects on the side. Yeah. So yeah, for me, it's a hard lesson. I think there are times I'm better at setting the boundary than others, because like I said, I just really want to do a good job at almost everything I put forward. So it's actually like a monthly check-in, like, hey, like, am I spending too much energy? Am I doing way later hours than I should be? Especially working from home now, I find it's a lot harder to shut off the work brain and just close your laptop and walk away from it. So yeah, there are harder times than others, but it's just reminding yourself, that's corporate time. Let's shut it down. It's time for me now, so I can be the best tomorrow. That's pretty much it. Sorry.
That's a great answer.
I feel like I'm gonna apologize every time because I just.
Oh, dude.
No, that's great.
Okay.
No, very good.
Okay.
Yeah, Austin, do you want to take it from here and talk about how finding creative, like working in a creative field and finding creative energy?
Yes. So Tina, you know this about me. Back in college, I had a personal vendetta against taking a break. I
Yes,
felt that, yeah, you guys had to pry me from my seat.
I'm sure a lot
It
of
was,
people relate to that, man. That is such a like, oh,
oh
Yeah.
my God. It got so bad because I felt like, no, all of my creative energy, it has to go to this, my work, because I was attaching my self-worth to my work and the quality of my work. And I was so dead set on getting it perfect that like when I actually ended up finishing it and I look back on it like a week later, I'm just like, oh my God, no, that if I just slowed down and just took the time to look before I, finished it, I wouldn't have been having this problem. So there were a few breaking points for me in college. I mean, like when I basically like there were times when I got so stressed and so tunnel visioned at work that my brain would just be static, and I wouldn't be even able to think clearly. So that was the first sign to be like, okay, yeah, no, I can't work like this. I can't do this. So I take a minute, I go for a walk, and I just reflect what is going on. Why am I not focusing correctly? And the reason was because I was like intentionally burning myself out as fast as I could because I was just so obsessed with getting things done correctly and perfect and right. And then I learned about this phrase called finished, not perfect. And I felt so called out.
I was thinking that this whole time.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
all of us are like, yeah.
And then I felt super called out when I heard that because I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, funny. Yeah, let's all laugh at the workaholic here. But no, it is true because like at some point you really just got to say, okay, this is not going to be perfect. And you may be frustrated about it. I have been so upset with some pieces of mine, but at the same time, if you don't take that break, if you don't take those breathers, then I very quickly found out then I'm gonna start resenting the same like the very stuff that I draw on my own time. I'm gonna get those same hangups I get about my work with my outside work, and it's just that's not gonna be. I don't want that to happen. I want to be drawing should not be something I have to do. It should be something I want to do because it's fun, it's an escape, it's therapeutic, and that's my answer.
I
It's
love
good.
it.
Yeah. And because you brought up school, Austin, so let's talk a little bit about school. So at Algonquin in particular, so sorry if there's anybody who hasn't gone there, but there's this kind of thing a lot of professors said about looking down on people who stop drawing after school, which is an interesting take to have. So I wanted to ask, after you graduated, did you draw more or less after school? And we'll start off with Tina, since I'm looking at her right now.
Both less and more.
Mhm.
If I'm that, just to elaborate. Oh, interesting. I'm going to contextualize my answer a little bit. Like when I went through the animation program, it was 3 years at the time when I was there. Don't know if it still is, but when I went through it, I had 2 jobs. I was like bartending and I also had a retail gig and I was drawing, and school is very taxing. And I think when I think about school, like I think when you're learning a skill versus having a skill in your tool belt, it's like twice as much mental energy to be dedicating to it because like it doesn't come naturally. So it's learning a skill is just so fatiguing versus like having that thing that you know how to do. And so I get out of school and I go into the workforce, and initially, no, not a lot of drawing. There was a good 3-4 month period where I didn't pick up a pencil, and I just was like, I don't want to do this. I'm tired. Oh my God. And work is hard. Oh my God. God damn. And so, I have so many things I want to say. Interesting question because like, it's did you draw more or less? And I'm like, oh my Lord. And I did less a lot, and I made a ton of amazing friends. I worked in Halifax for a bit, and I made a ton of fantastic friends that I like love to this day. And we would just hang out, and I just didn't want to draw because I was so fatigued. And depending on your value system, like if you're a person that's like, well, if drawing every single day is a thing that like I don't find value in, like I'm not gonna do it. And for a while I didn't find it to be inherently valuable because work was less of a social thing for me and less of like a thing to be proud of and more of like this will put food on my table. So I saw like working as a means to live and not like a means to create, which I think is healthy. And then through that, I started drawing more because I got the zest to kind of draw and be creative again and get over that burnout now that I had like a job I could sustain my life on. That I don't know if that is a very individualized experience, but that was at least my experience. Like, didn't draw a lot, and also like didn't really care what my teachers had to say about it because my life is my experience and my choice. So I didn't draw, and then I just kind of fell in love with drawing again, but like with more tools in my tool belt, having gone to art school. Yeah. Mackenzie's nodding her head, and I'm like, okay, so I don't sound like a complete crazy person.
No. You've hit on some things that are, yes. Same.
If you want to take it over, Mackenzie, go ahead.
Okay, I don't want to take Austin's spotlight.
Don't worry about me.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, so, well, I started in 3D, right? So I didn't start with animation where you do a lot of hands-on drawing to kind of figure out your keys and such, or that's how you're taught in school. So I will say, like, I do think that I got lucky working in a department that didn't require hands-on drawing all day to problem solve stuff. Because at the end of the day, I still saw drawing as playtime. Like that was my fun time and it was a break from work. So in my final year, or like in year 3 of animation at Algonquin, you hear a lot about people, you know, like, oh, they've been working in the industry for 5 or so years and now they never draw. And like I saw lots of examples of people who are very skilled at what they do, incredible artists, work on amazing projects, but then you see their drawings, like their hands-on stuff, and it was very like kind of, I don't want to sound mean, but it was sort of disappointing. And I was really afraid because I want to get into a medium eventually that is very drawing heavy and you better keep it up. And I want to hopefully get to a really high-end level with my drawing. That's the goal. So I was just afraid to drop drawing altogether. I was really, really scared to be one of those people the professors were talking about being like, yeah, they don't draw anymore and they're not that good, you know? So my final year, I spent a lot of time drawing for myself. And actually, I think I hit a lot of milestones with my skills on my own time because I was heavily focusing on 3D within school. So then when I got out, I got a job at Mercury and then I graduated. And I found my drawings dropped dramatically and I felt like I gained all these skill sets through life drawing, through, you know, character animation, through drawing for myself. And I built all these skills. I had a tool belt and then I'm slammed with overwhelming knowledge about 3D and starting my job. And there's a lot of stuff I learned in a very short period of time that I didn't get taught in school. And again, trying to be the best that I can be, taking notes every day. I would leave work every day with a smashing headache and feeling a little overwhelmed, but then like kind of going over my notes later that day to sort of digest all that information I just took in. So I found mentally I was exhausted. But when the weekends hit or whatever, I would try to like find that little escape and draw for myself. So like drawing for myself decreased quite a bit. I'll say in the first like 3 to 4 months of starting to work in the industry. But my fear of losing all those tools that I just gained for 4 years of schooling was too big. So I kind of kept to it after hours and tried to like amp up my drawings. I'm not drawing every day and I don't think I'm drawing as much as I did when I was in my final year of college, hitting all those like new milestones. but I'm comfortable now and I'm happy, and I think I can push boundaries when I want to push boundaries. And because like work isn't an overload of knowledge all the time, I have that extra little bit of gas in the tank to do my own stuff. So yeah, it did a dip, and then I think it went back up because I realized, I don't want to lose these skills. Oh no. So I would just start drawing a lot again and trying to find things that inspired me or made me happy, or listening to Glenn Keane, Aaron Blaise, whoever, a lot of the big Disney Pixar guys, just listen to them talk about art and their love for it. And I'm like, all right, it's still my happy place. We're okay. We could still come back to that and get away from work in that sense. So I got lucky because, like I said, I don't have a job where it's just drawing all day. So
that's so cool. It's art for art's sake. Like it's just like, you love drawing and you have these tools and you're like, I don't want to lose them. I love them. I love art. Like that's so wonderful.
You spend so much time building it up. And so like to lose it, it's like, a muscle you build in the gym.
Yeah.
It takes a long time, I think, to really fully lose it. It's like riding a bike, but you can build it back up, and then you'll start punching through walls and being like, holy shit, I drew this thing in, forced perspective and I didn't think I could do that. Okay, wow, I do have tools, and I cherish that and I appreciate it. I don't want to let it go. So yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Before we go to Austin, I'm just going to add to Mackenzie's point too, where I think my gap between not drawing was much longer, where I didn't draw for 2 years after school, or very sporadically. And Mackenzie is right. I did lose a lot of my skills in the tool belt. But this last year, I've been refining my skills and refining those tools, which has been very good. And so it's not like they will always go away forever. You can rebuild them.
Yeah, and it's okay to take breaks. Like if you're burnt out, if you're learning something else on the side, like understand your body can only, like your brain and your body can only take in so much, and you have to care for yourself, as Tina has said. So like show yourself some love. If you need a break from drawing for a month, like, yeah, not the best, but if you need it, you need it. So take it, enjoy it. Don't feel guilty about it, and come back to drawing knowing that's your happy place. You're drawing as a kid. It makes you feel good. It should be fun. There's no pressure to it. So.
Yeah. All right, Austin, you want to take it from here too?
Yes. But before I answer the question, I just want to say I find it very elitist that some of the profs talk behind our backs like that.
Behind our backs.
Yeah, should happen.
Yeah.
That was very upfront.
But even so, like the thing is, like when I left college, my drawing, it was very patchy, because there were some like weeks where I would just draw nonstop and I was feeling it, and then other weeks I just didn't really care for it. And part of the reason was even though I didn't complete my full third year of college, because I got the fucking job at Mercury, even so, like it was just, there was a lot of work I was doing at the time. So yeah, it kind of goes back to like creativity is kind of like, how do I say this? It's kind of like inhaling and exhaling. Like sometimes you're inhaling, you're taking in all of that energy, you're feeling great, and then you're exhaling and you're just kind of relaxing, and you're like, I'm not really feeling it. But the thing about taking like hiatuses from drawing, even though yes, like it can potentially be damaging to your skill set, I've also seen in some instances that has actually been rather helpful, mainly for people who are starting out in the program, because there's this one person I'm, I guess you could say, mentoring, trying to like looking over his portfolio. He's trying to get into the animation program, and he feels really bad because he wasn't drawing every day, and he kind of feels like, oh man, I got to work on this portfolio all the time, and oh man, if I'm not drawing, they expect me to draw every day, all this and that. And again, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about like drawing should not be a stressful thing. Yes, learning a skill, like what you said, Tina, it's a lot different than having a skill, but at the same time, this person who I was working with, they took this was like last winter. They took a whole month where they just didn't draw anything, nothing for their portfolio, nothing for themselves, and they felt really guilty about that. They came to me, they messaged me, they said, I have to admit, I've just been in a rut. I'm not happy with my work. I haven't been drawing that much. And I said, hey, that's okay. There's no problem. Why don't you draw something now? And I gave him a little bit of a prompt. He like did a quick little sketch, and just immediately looking at that sketch from his last sketch like a month ago, there was already a huge improvement, because it's sort of like his skills sort of like took time to like, settle and like bake in, I guess you could say. Because like, yeah, because he wasn't so, I guess you could say, what's the word I'm looking for? He wasn't so adamant about getting it right. He was just focused on drawing. He came out with a much better product in the end. So yeah. So even so, like, I don't think there really is any. I mean, I understand if you feel guilty about not drawing. Of course, I get that. I feel guilty about not drawing too. But at the same time, it's not the end of the world. It's in many cases, it's very necessary, because we need those exhales of just, I'm not feeling very creative. I don't really want to do this right now. But when I, start to pick it up again, then I know like it won't be a completely foreign thing to me. So yeah, I think I was starting to ramble there at the end, but hey.
No worries. So because of the attitude that like comes from school about looking down at people who don't draw when they're in the industry, what are your thoughts about, like, I think it's okay to not draw if you're in the industry. I think that's totally fine. And I would like to know like what your specific thoughts are of like finding your own self-value outside of being creative. So we'll send off to Tina.
Interesting. So we're kind of talking about your general opinion is like draw or don't draw, what gives you value kind of.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot of pressure in this industry to put your self-worth into what you create.
Yeah, I think all of us agree with that. Especially in school, it was again, if anyone is not in school or has not been in school, I apologize. But it is so competitive, because all 30, 40 of you are there doing the exact same thing, and you're all drawing every day, striving to be good at drawing every day.
Yeah.
And leaving that expectation really kind of opens you up to a world that asks like, do I want to do this? And then once you get into animation, you start mastering like the software, and that I truly think, the need, as Mackenzie was saying, like in a 3D sphere, you're thinking about movement and shapes and like life, but you don't necessarily need to be putting pencil to paper every day at work. And I think you can derive a lot of value from finding artistic endeavors that maybe are beyond drawing to feel good about yourself. Like oh my God, I'm going to steal. I don't know if I'm allowed to do this. I'll walk with you guys. But so I had bouts where I was like, hey, I don't really feel like drawing, but I want to be creative. So I started like making things out of clay.
Oh my God.
Like,
is that, oh my God, it is from BoJack. Oh yes. Hell yeah.
I don't know if anyone cares. But speaking of
I care.
Yes. I'm so happy we're having this conversation, because like I do think school, like they want you to graduate and they want you to do well, and they want you to get a job. They want you to succeed. So like I think they kind of have a limited scope of what narrative to feed you to give you the best chance at having a good future in animation. But like art is so much more expansive than that, and deriving value from art like can mean so many different things. So I like clay. And, yeah, as far as drawing every day, like to what Austin and Mackenzie were saying, like ruts are such a thing. And I do love, I was like raised to draw traditionally. I loved fine art as a kid, and I find like a lot of the skills we really like when we're a lot younger are skills that like we carry on into our adulthood that we enjoy making. So Yeah, I'm a rambly child, but
Okay.
That's okay.
yeah, right? Like my artistic value, like I love making weird stuff. Like whenever I make art that is more freelance commission, I always try to make it really surreal, stupid 1920s, like blue collar fart inspired art. That's the kind of stuff I wake up for every day. And like I love my job because I get to incorporate elements of that into like the silly show that I'm working on. But yeah, I think like drawing every day like is such a rigid like thing to say. Like, do you draw every day? Like, if you don't, then like, win. It's just a little things to me. Like, because there's so many ways to like make art, keep that tool belt nice and tight around your hips, and like, I don't know, it's a little sample. Yeah. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mackenzie, you're awesome. Want to add anything to that?
And Mackenzie.
Okay, it's a hard one to follow. So, your self-worth, eh? So I think art and drawing, and when I think about what I put forward on my Instagram and I show people and I get excited and I show my mom, that really is an expression of like your insides. You know, it's an expression of who you are and what you like, whether it be colorful and flowery or really dark and grim. Like, it is a piece of you. So I understand like the pressures in school, and you're like, you know, their focus is, oh, you're in animation, you're in art, you want to be amazing, you want to be the next, you know, Disney artist from Ottawa, and we want to showcase you, you know, if you get there. And they really do push you to be the next Disney, you know?
Yeah.
So I understand why they put a lot of emphasis on like, this is going to be your whole life, and this is so important, and being the best animator, and like, you know, go to LA and you know, be the shining star over there and work in feature film. I understand, because they're trying to like mold you into something amazing. They're trying to mold you into something that you were not yesterday. And I get that. You need push. But understanding that you're more than just your drawings, you're more than just your little piece of soul that you show everyone. You're also someone who, maybe you like fitness to keep your mind sharp. Maybe you like I really like sculpting, hands-on sculpting. I used to love ceramics when I was in grade 11 and 12. That was like my favorite class ever, because I love sculpting little pots and plates and whatever. I found that was a great artistic outlet, and everything you do can be, you know, your artist, how do you say this? Like, everything you do in life can be focused back into your artwork. So whether it's, like I said, health and fitness, whether it's sculpting, whether it's painting, whether it's learning gouache, whether it's sewing, or I don't know, macrame, like all of that stimulates your creative juices, and I don't know, keeps you going, and like knowing that, you know, drawing isn't the only thing in life that can stimulate that side of your brain, knowing that there's a lot of other things you can do to do that. And it's only going to make you a better artist at the end of the day, more well-rounded, wear many hats, try lots of different things, because you never know what you're going to really fall in love with. I hope I answered that question.
Yeah.
But
No, it's good. That's good.
okay. Oh, Austin, go for it.
Yeah, Austin, go.
All right. So just so I know what I'm talking about, could I get a repeat of that question?
Yeah, I want you to just talk about finding your self-worth and value outside of being creative, and even the rigidness of how school taught you to be creative.
Oh yeah, the thing is, yeah, like they were saying, there's no one way to be creative. Like honestly, like one of my biggest things, like when I'm not drawing, I'm either I have this thing called FL Studio. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. It's a music program. I don't know music. I draw cartoons, but I still fuck around with it because I like making sounds that go beep boop bop. It's really cool. And the thing is, and it's really great because since I know this isn't my actual profession, I feel a lot more free with it. I can just like, okay, I'm not going to show this to anyone. I can screw up and no one's going to know anything. And that's the thing. Like, it's so easy to think, oh, well, I made this, and if people see it and they judge it, well, then that they're going to think that's forever associated with me, and I don't want to make anything I'm not unhappy with. But Even so, like, and I get that mindset. I go through that as well. But I mean, just look on YouTube. There are millions of artists who they animate in completely different ways. So there's this one YouTube channel I saw. He does little D&D shorts like that are very, very incidental, like 10 to 15 second long, and they're not even that well done. They're just like little rough drawings and whatnot. But at the same time, they're still hilarious. This guy has millions and millions of subs that tune in to see his short little like anecdotes every single day. So never like there's an audience for everything, and never feel bad about whatever you're making. Never get focused on whether the stuff you're making is good or bad. Just focus on making it, and then make a judgment after it. And if you're happy with it, then that's great. And if you're not happy with it, then that's also fine. But that doesn't tie back to you. That's not like a fault on you. That's like, oh, I made a bad thing, that's shame on me. No, that's just part of the process of creating. And even if you're not creating, that's man.
Yeah. I think you will. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tina.
You're asking a lot of questions that you're in the industry. Do you have anything that you like to do outside of work that you'd classify as artistic?
I like to build keyboards.
I've noticed that. That's really cool. I don't like. Do you just get the caps and like put them on, or?
I'll show you some of the stuff I got next to my desk right now. But I have the PCB, which is all the electronic components to the keyboard. So I'm soldering all the switches into this, which are going to be pretty much the buttons for the keyboard. So it's just it's a stupid expensive hobby, but I really love it. And it's very fun, and it's very creative because you just have this really aesthetically pleasing and thing on your desk that you use every day for work, and it feels amazing because it's very tactile, it's very stimming and clicky.
Love that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's my creative outlet, is building these. I'm also going to build a long Furby at one point, so that's going to be fun.
Yes, so am I.
Oh my God, I won't, but I want. I'll commission everyone here to make me a long Furby. Oh my God, is this the long Furby gang?
I guess so.
We're going to do it.
Furby, rise up, Furby gang.
So you've all kind of touched on it a little bit, but I also want to know, besides creative hobbies or pursuits, what are things that are a part of your life that has value to you that has nothing to do with creativity? Like Mackenzie said, working out, or like something like that, something that is just valuable for you in your time. And we'll start with Tina.
I'll start with me. Okay, I also wanted to bring up the chat because I love that Mara and Giovanna are like, long Furbies.
Long Furby gang.
Oh man. Speaking to our whole overarching theme is like how to be or maybe just essentially like enjoy creativity in a non-work capacity. Like Mackenzie was talking about fitness, and that's the thing that I started getting into this year that I never thought I would get into at all. I was like the least athletic person ever. But just like kind of expanding outside of drawing into sculpting and into like learning more about cinema, I found I could find beauty in activities that are outside of that world, if that makes sense. And for a while I thought fitness was like the antithesis of art, but like everything is a hobby for a reason. Like everything has like just this creative juice, not necessarily an artistic juice, but like fitness has made me feel just like so much value. Emily's here in the chat. Like she taught me how to longboard last year, and I was really inspired to learn to skateboard this year. Like honoring my physical body by like being outside of my drawing den and like having lived experiences that I can like capitalize on and draw from has been so valuable. Like my partner is really good at longboarding too, so like that's been so lovely for us. And like having these lived experiences away from a piece of paper has made being at my desk and drawing more valuable. I don't know, you know what I mean, guys? Like the less time you're at your computer than when you're back at it, like that inspiration is there more because you're not like sitting at it all the time being like, how do I draw? What do I draw? What do I do today? Instagram likes it. Like, yeah. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, Mackenzie. Like, I don't know if you started fitness super recently as well, or if that was like always a hobby or, you know, a creative outlet, let's say.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, okay, where do I begin?
I
So,
know. What's your
well,
fitness thing? What do you like?
growing up, yeah, I always wanted to get into dance. You know, parents put me in soccer and whatever. So I think growing up, I was a fairly active kid. And then high school, middle school hit, and you kind of just want to look and feel your best because in high school, you're a little, you know, all about yourself. So I found I was taking the reins a lot more on my health and fitness in high school. College hit and I gained some weight. I got super unfit because I spent all my damn time at the drawing board and doing homework and sitting on my bed very uncomfortably. So after college, I made it a promise to myself that I would get back into it and refocus my life back around it because I know it's so important as you get older. It's not just to look good, it's to feel your best. And, you know, just sitting at a desk all day, if you can balance that out with physical activity, it just feels better. It's like sitting on a couch after a long day. It feels amazing. If I can sit down and draw and, you know, not be all cramped up like Gollum, that's awesome. So, but it goes through ebbs and flows. Like, you know, now I'm getting way more into it because my partner right now, he is very health and fitness minded. He's an RMT as well as like a CrossFit coach. So I think having him in my life has enriched my life and my mental health because it's pushed me to get back into it and know how to do it properly and not just like flail around at the gym because I don't know what the heck I'm doing most of the time. Like I want someone to tell me what to do. That's why I used to like Zumba classes and stuff. So now it's a lot more prevalent, especially with COVID. And, you know, I don't know about you guys, but man, like my mental health has taken a serious hit along with a lot of other people this year. And honestly, my only other outlet that I've found for myself this year has been working on myself inside out and also drawing. So I've tried to pick up other little crafts and stuff and dabble around, but honestly, like nothing has made me feel better than at the end of the day, forcing myself to get on my stretchy pants and do a workout, and I feel better. Like the depression hasn't been so bad lately because I've been really trying to focus my energy or like, hey, I have time at the end of the day. I'm going to schedule it. I have to go to the gym. I bought this program. I have to do it. Mm-hmm. And because I have focus with it, it's a lot better. So no, it hasn't been all the time. I haven't like been a super fitness freak. I've gotten a lot more into it this year because we're in this weird circumstance. I really hope it carries on. I really hope that I can kind of keep that focus because it's helped in like so many ways. But yeah. Sorry, what was the other question? I feel like I should just
No, it could. It's just about like things you do outside of being creative, like that are valuable to your life. Yeah. I think you've really hit the question there. And
yeah. So I'll definitely say like for sure, focusing on myself because I know my body is in tandem with my mental health, in tandem with my creative outlet. I got really, before COVID, I did dragon boat racing with a really, really good friend of mine who's also in the industry, Naomi. She's a background painter, but that was a lot of fun because I got to do with a friend and whatever. Besides that though, I love horror movies. I love movies. So I love to sit down and watch a good slasher or like, you know, super gory flick because it totally takes me out of reality. I can't do rom-coms. I can't do sad movies. Like I cry way too much. So like, just give me a good old slasher. And like, that is the best escape for me, especially knowing like I can't go to the movie theaters this year or anything. I bought Shudder and I know I'm just laying there vegetating. I'm not actually doing anything, but it is honestly like the best treat to myself at the end of the night where I get to turn on Shudder and see like if there's any cool new releases. So I don't know, it's my favorite. That's my outlet other than drawing.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. What do you do? outside of creative activities that are valuable to yourself?
I have a very on and off relationship with fitness. I yo-yo with it a lot. I
Oh, I thought
haven't.
you were going to be, I yo-yo. That's my
Yeah.
fitness activity.
Oh, yeah.
We feel you.
Yeah, I yo-yo. Don't know if you've heard of it. It's a pretty cool sport. But no, yeah, I fluctuate with it, as does my weight, which I was self-conscious about at first, but I don't know. The longer I'm in this quarantine, the more I've stopped, like, I don't know, putting so much pressure on myself about that. Now, I have been going on a lot more walks lately, mainly when I'm anxious. I find that really helps. If I'm anxious or if I'm just getting tunnel visioned on work, I'm like, okay, yep, time for a walk. And I pop in the earbuds and I just disappear. However, another little fun activity I've been taking up is I've I've been making a lot of sourdough breads lately.
Ooh.
Like my own, like from scratch, my own starters and whatnot, and I make these giant loaves with huge crusts, and oh my god,
Is it incredible? Is it everything?
yes, it is. And I also managed to make my own focaccia with the sourdough, which, if I ever go back to the studio, you guys have got to try this focaccia. Oh my god.
No, bring some to Mercury.
Yes. Oh yes, I will.
Oh, horror movie and focaccia date. Like,
Yeah. Oh, and pina coladas.
Yes.
What?
Oh my god.
Girl.
Yeah, and the thing about baking is it's I used to hate this in high school, but it's just a lot of math and just measuring things and making sure it's all correct, and then once you have all the ingredients, you just stir and stir and stir, and then you pop it in the oven, and it does the rest for you. It's such a satisfying experience just watching this thing that was once just a bowl of mush rise into this living, breathing food.
Mhm.
It's so much fun, and yeah, it's very therapeutic. So yeah, I'm trying to do more, like, fitness related things, just so I'm not turning my legs into complete mush. However, I am still pretty happy that I still have some of my gains that I have gained from a few months ago, so I'm pretty okay. I'm happy with that.
Yay, that's
Awesome.
good.
Yeah. I'm going to do one more question, and then we're going to open up to QA. So anybody who's watching can throw anything in the chat, and we'll start answering those questions as well. And then we'll wrap it up after that.
Sweet.
So start throwing your questions in now. So my last question is, because we talked a little bit about the negativity bias of not drawing from the professors at Algonquin. I kind of want to ask you all, what is something that you took from Algonquin that was beneficial to your drawing?
Oh god, let me think about that.
Because I want to do a bit. I want to also balance it out with a bit more positivity from going to school and how it helped you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have an answer if no one else has an answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Austin, go first.
So it was mainly in third year, but and I think it was third year was when I really started to hit my stride with my drawing. I was actually starting to be happy with the stuff I was making, but third year life drawing class was the shit. Oh my god. Mainly because we got to work with all the pastels, and we got to learn all these crazy new shading techniques and working with Conte and stuff like that, or new techniques with the Conte. But my favorite assignment was the drawing a character from a movie with the gestures. We had to pick a character. I chose Gru from Despicable Me. Other people chose Dr. Facilier. Other people chose other things. But oh yeah, there was a number of characters. We had the option to draw a bunch of them. But anyway, that project, just, I don't know, something about it. It was kind of like the eureka moment when I started to just realize, wait a minute, it's all just poses. That's all it is. I just gotta draw them in poses. That's all. It was weird. It just sort of clicked in that moment. And ever since then, character drawing and drawing things on model and whatnot has just been coming a lot more easier to me, and it's gotten to a point where like I think I'm very good at what I do. Just, I don't know, just something. But yeah, no, that was third year life drawing class. I learned so many new things. I chilled with so many great people. I remember all the great conversations we had, and it was a fun time. So yeah.
Mhm. No, that's good. Life drawing is really freaking important.
Yeah.
Definitely improved my skills.
Wow. Holy moly, eh? I feel like everybody says that after they graduate, and then it was like, oh, life drawing.
Yeah.
Tina, you want to go?
Okay. I was just thinking about my answer, and I was like, oh, I don't want to breed an unhealthy regimen for school. But one thing that I'm trying to, think back to being a student, and I don't have like a single lesson that was a takeaway, like a specific like class. But I found like overall, it was like second year, I knew I was not going to be a layout student, and I was in this like background drawing class. And school, definitely one really positive takeaway is like, as I said earlier, like I had to work during school, and that was very challenging because the program is very challenging on its own. And learning how to work under pressure, getting something done just to the best of your abilities and the time you had. At the time, I thought it was like a detriment to my skill set, but now I find it's like it was very valuable. Like if I get off work at 9 and I go to the studio and I work till 11, I need a good night's sleep. I have 2 hours to commit to this. That's the best I can do. To have graduated that program doing the best I could do with the time I was given was like very valuable to me. Honestly, I got a ton of D's. I did not think I was going to graduate. And knowing that I worked really, really hard with the time I was given, like that lesson of persevering and not having all of the advantages like you could have in another hypothetical universe is very helpful. My skill set now, because now I have a bit more time. I'm on the firefighter team. We put out fires, then we hang out, and it's been very helpful for that, like how to manage those really pressurized, like that pressure cooker environment. That being said, I don't want to like breed an environment where people feel comfortable working in a pressure cooker all the time. So I was sitting here being like, I don't want that to be my answer, but I do find that very valuable because it's a kind of hot and cold industry. I don't know. Mackenzie?
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. It's very bittersweet.
It is very bittersweet. There's a lot of like managing your own barometer for that, like when it becomes inappropriate. So
yeah. I will, so there are school, okay, there is a positive and negative side to school for sure. And I will say this, when I was leaving pre-animation and going into animation, I detested, like I hated when the first, second, or third years would come to talk to us about the program, and it was all like bad stuff. It was like, oh God, you're never gonna make it. Like it is so hard. Like if you think you're struggling now, just wait. Like everyone, either drops out or fails, and like it's so hard, and this teacher's impossible, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Well, I hated that because I'm a really stubborn person, and I was just thinking like, no, you're not going to tell me how my experience is going to go, because I love drawing and I love animation. I think it's really cool. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to be open with my teachers. I'm going to take criticisms or revisions, and I'm just going to be open-minded because I'm trying to learn something. So I really hated that. So going into animation, I tried to be, I was as positive as I could be, and I was excited. And then when the reality of it starts hitting you, there are really good things. You learn a lot of amazing skill sets. There are some wicked teachers at the college, and it doesn't matter what college you go to, what university you go to, there's always going to be good teachers and bad teachers, some that are there for the paycheck and some that are there because they genuinely care about their future coworkers. And think of it like that. You're their future coworker, not their little baby student. You're learning right now. You are a student, but like you got to put your professional cap on. So anyways, my thing is just stay open-minded. When you start the program, yeah, might be really hard on you, and that's okay. And you might totally fall in love with 2D animation, or, you know, the course that takes up the most amount of space in your schooling. But be open-minded, understand that sometimes you got to persevere, you got to get through it, you got to stay open-minded to maybe get to a spot that you want to be. Keep checking in with yourself, with your mental health, and just kind of like, for me, it was design. I really, really love character design. And I didn't find out until later second year that I really actually loved 3D modeling. It took me a long time to find my niche, but I knew that there was a lot of different job opportunities once you actually get to the industry. And I was talking to professors, and I was talking to connections maybe I made online of people who already were in the industry, and just asking like, what kind of jobs are there in a studio? Like, you know, I know there isn't just 2D animation, background or layout artists, and a harmony rigger. I know there's not only those 3 jobs. Like, what other things can fulfill my creative and professional needs? And when I found out like, oh, I can do 3D modeling, or I can do design, or I can do comp, it really opened my eyes to understand like, this is only temporary. If you're having a bad time, just do what you can to take care of your mental health and push through, because you have bigger goals and you've got something else you're fighting for. So you're going to make it to the end. You're going to have amazing professors that you can lean on and talk to and be open with. But honestly, try your best, and, you know, keep pushing forward for what you actually want to do. Just keep that in mind. Like, I know it's a bit of a tangent, but I will say at one point in first year, like, I did not think I was going to make it through the program. And I was really questioning like, oh, maybe animation isn't for me. But like, all I can think about is art. That's the only thing I've ever been good at. And unfortunately, like, I put all my chips in that bowl at the time. Like, oh no, like, what am I going to do without animation? There are other avenues you can go down. It's not the end of the road. If you don't make it through the program you originally thought you'd excel at, it's okay, because there's so many routes to get to where you want to be. So whether you go through school or go take the long way around and teach yourself, you know, like, there's a lot of stuff on like Skillshare or YouTube, or there's a lot of online places like CGMA, and they teach a lot of different courses for the arts if that's where you're going. Like, just understand there's a bigger picture. You have other goals, try many different things. So you don't get so bogged down in the here and now. Like, when I was in animation, at one point I got told like, hey, maybe you don't belong in animation. Maybe you're more of an illustrator. Maybe you belong in concept art, but maybe this program isn't for you. That's probably why you're not doing well. And that sucked. It really sucked. But I made sure to just be like, hey, brush it off. That's a bummer, but I'm going to do my best for what I can right now. Control what you can, and understand this isn't the end all be all. Maybe I don't want to do this, and that's okay, but I'm going to do my best at it. And then I'm going to keep pushing forward for where I want to go. So yeah, that's it.
What does that mean to be like, maybe it's not for you? Like, also just to get on my high horse, like.
Yeah, and it was right at, it was right at the final. So it was kind of a crushing blow. And I knew, like, Tina, maybe like you, maybe understand me, but I wasn't getting like 80s and 90s in animation. And even though I loved animation and I really wanted to be like amazing, I wanted to just be a savant, going into it. I wanted that so bad, but you know what? Sometimes your brain it doesn't transfer to your hand skills. Like, you're not there yet. You can't actually put on paper what you see and what you digest all day. So be patient with yourself, have a goal, try many different things, and you'll get there. Understand who your allies are and who you should maybe stay away from in school. There's lots of negativity. And I just think to excel and do the best you can do and keep your mental health in check, like, stick around people that are going to keep you level-headed. And if you need to just cry it out, you know that you have someone there to be with you, and it's okay. We all go through it. So anyways, huge
that's good. Yeah, you've touched on a lot of good points. I think with school, it can be tough. I think it sounds like we'll have a similar experience too of not always being the best students, but it's surprising how many of the lower grade students do really well in the industry, like talking to all of us now.
Yeah.
Because when you're a student like that, you problem solve of how to make the work easier for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
and that is a skill that really translates a lot better in the industry than it does in school.
And also, like, oh yeah, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and also the thing is, like going, like, I guess to add on what Mackenzie said, it's so, yeah, like, it's so easy to let outside opinions of like, maybe you shouldn't do this, maybe you shouldn't do that. Everyone's experience and everyone's life and skill, like, yeah, everyone's life experience and everyone's skill level is completely different. And to force, like, to force someone to, you know, oh, you should be at this level by this time is just, as it is completely ridiculous in my opinion, because everyone is going to evolve at their own time. Like, I knew someone in college who, you know, was really struggling, like, with their animation and with their drawing skill. And nowadays, you wouldn't be able to even tell that from the stuff they're making now. So it's really just about, like, you know, the school really is like the pressure cooker. Because it's forcing you to, like, you know, like, churn out all of this stuff, draw every single day. But then, like, once you take some time away from it, which again, this goes back to the whole, like, you know, not drawing every day is kind of a good thing. Like, once you come back to it after a bit of a hiatus, after all of that skill and, like, all of that, like, experience and learning has had time to settle in, next time you return to your art, it's going to look a million times better than the last time you looked at it.
School is literally just your fast track way to get into the industry. And then what you do from there is that's you now. And that's who you are.
Yes. Oh, we have a question in the chat from Richard.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt. Awesome. Speak it up.
You guys spoke earlier about the topic of not overworking yourselves and the finish not perfect. What advice would you have for a student who is stuck in the mindset of, if you're not ahead, you're behind? Oh my God, dude, tell me about it. Tell me about it. My God, you are speaking my language. Especially for a perfectionist who is not working at a skill level where their own image of person preach to a fucking choir. Hell yes, let us tell me about it. And
do you want to take that first?
Yeah, sure, I can take that first. So, as someone who was also a perfectionist, here's another great quote. If you don't make time for your mental illness or for whatever insecurities you have, you will be forced to make time for it, because the longer you sit on it and the longer you let it fester, the more it's going to, like, evolve into this big amalgamation of insecurity and because of that, and if you yourself are not in a good mindset, then the work you're making is not going to be good. So something I had to learn was the wisdom to be able to just stop working, because again, like I said, I legitimately had a problem with, I just could not stop working, and it got to a point where my wrist would cramp, or like maybe I would develop some sort of back cramp or pain or whatever, and it's just, again, I wasn't making time for myself. So my body was literally forcing me to make time, because it's like, we can't keep doing this. It is not feasible to keep doing this. And trust me, it's frustrating at first, because you don't want to take that break. You don't want to, you know, like, oh, I have to keep working on this because I have to keep pushing. I have to keep moving forward and whatnot. It's so hard to fight that, because it's so easy to just stay at your desk and just keep doing what you've been doing for the past so-and-so hours. But it really comes down to just, like, the wisdom to know, okay, I've reached my limit for now. I need to take a break. And it really just comes with it. That'll come with time. It's not going to be an overnight thing. I wish it was, but yeah, I get it.
I love that. I love that so much. And I think the idea of, like, If you're not ahead, you're behind. I get where you're coming from, but like you aren't even aware that you are ahead. Like your eye is very much ahead. It's just your hand that's a little behind when it comes to learning these new skills. And to get a little flowery for a minute, pun intended, like you can have all the knowledge to grow a garden, but you still have to wait and watch it grow. You have to take time. You know how to make that flower grow, but you still need time to let the plant do the work. And you have all of this knowledge. Your eye sees it. Your eye sees good art. You can identify why it's good, and you're frustrated with yourself because you're not making it right now. But you will make it, and it will happen. I was a horrific student, and like I tried so hard, and I got so frustrated. My eye was just a little more advanced than my hand. It just takes time. Is all.
Isn't that true? My eye
It's a little
more advanced than my hand.
corny, but I believe it so much. I really do. Like I'm learning to skateboard right now. And Emily and I, God love her, man, we're identifying how to ollie. I know how to ollie, but my feet won't do it, and they will one day, and that's it. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
just need time to catch up. Yeah, I will say, like, eventually, if you stay with the whole, like, you know, ignorance is bliss. I want it to be perfect. Like, I'm not done until I'm done. Well, guess what? Like, a lot of the time, it's just never going to be, like, completely perfect. It's never going to be totally finished. And you have to take a step back and realize, hey, that's okay. Let me move on to something else. Let me try something different. And if you want, you can always come back to that thing that's bothering you if it's still on your mind. And maybe you would have developed, you know, maybe you would have broken through a couple walls with the next thing you work on when you come back to that last project. So just know that you can always come back to your work. It's okay. If you're in a studio, I will also be very careful with the perfectionist mindset, just like we talked about earlier, making sure like you check in with yourself, draw that line, because I think eventually it does catch up to you. And I've touched on this. I'm very stubborn. I'm very much a perfectionist. I have a hard time of letting things go. And so I was always like pushing myself, like, no, it's not done. Like the deadline's in a week. I have to get this perfect. It has to look good. And I realized like it caught up to me very quickly, or even if it's a month later, I'm dead tired. I have zero creativity. I have no time for myself. I'm grumpy. Like it might affect other people in my life too, because so much energy is put into work and it really drains your passion for your job. So just be very careful with that mindset, and just know, like, if it's your personal work, you can always come back and maybe you'll be a bit more developed and you can actually transfer what's in your brain onto the paper, and you might find out you make some really cool shit. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I'm gonna also add on to this too. Working in retakes and revisions, your idea of what's perfect is not your supervisors, it's not the clients, it's not the animation directors, it's not the directors. So what you want to do is sometimes just not what the show needs, and working towards what they want and what they need is a better use of your time, and understanding what those what that perfection is a better use of your time than trying to do your own perfectionist. Because at the end of the day, that's your job, and you don't need to be the perfect yourself at that job.
I love that answer so much. I worked on Trailer Park Boys, and I would like put a ton of follow through on the hair, and then my boss was like, we don't want that. And I was like, but the wind. And they're like, I don't care. We don't want that. And I was like, but it's not good. Like, not even perfect. I was like, but this in my brain isn't like full animation. And then you're like, oh, the client wants it to look like it was like made from a cereal box, like cut out and painted. like they want bottom of the barrel, and I'm happy to get paid for that. Like the idea of being perfect, to like, I would ask yourself, like, why do I want that? What does that satisfy within me and my value system? Like, what does perfect even matter? Because your client doesn't care. They want it to look bad, and that's weird. Like, we want garbage. I'm like, okay.
Make it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Also, I just wanted I believe I missed it the first time, but Emily had a question. What advice would you give to first year you? And for me, that would just be like, there's going to be a lot of ups. There's going to be a lot of downs, probably a lot more downs than ups. It's going to be a journey. And that's probably the biggest thing I wasn't really expecting was the whole journey aspect and like, you know, all the humbling experiences that came with it. But because I don't know about you guys, but every year had a different vibe to it. Like first year was like it was very hardcore, lots of like learning the basics and whatnot. Second year was just insane because we had to do the 3-point perspective and the panorama, I believe, like back to back. So yeah, I was like, I wasn't really prepared for just how much things would change in such a short span of time. Because yeah, it's 3 years, and 3 years is a long time, but not really in the grand scheme of things. And just like how fast things were like changing, and just how much we were just forced to move on from one thing to the other in like with each assignment and whatnot. It was almost a bit jarring at times, and I kind of got a little existential about it. And I was just like, man, this really is just school, isn't it? We just keep on moving forward. And it was almost moving a little too fast for me at points, because I wasn't really, it's hard to explain. I wasn't fully, I guess I wasn't really fully my head wasn't fully in the game yet, I guess I should say. but yeah, that's my advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go to Mackenzie next. What's your first year?
Okay.
What is advice for first year you?
I would say, okay, if I could talk to my first year self, I would definitely just tell her it's going to be okay. You're gonna make it through, and you're gonna be stronger than you thought you were. And like maybe show your work a little bit more to the teachers, or just show your work to teachers you know who are kind of like on your side, you know, who want the best for you and who are there for genuine reasons. And just know that if you didn't get an 80, if you didn't get a 90, and everyone's celebrating because they passed with a 75 and you just passed, it is okay. Like, it might, like I talked about, it might not be like animation or layout or, you know, harmony or 3D might not be your specialty, and that's okay. Just do your best, move forward, and just stay connected to that goal that you came in with. Stay connected to trying new things, talking to teachers. Don't get hung up on the number. Don't get hung up on the grade. Really, really don't. Quick little side note, I went from one group to another in second year because of some issues that I had with me and another student had a problem with the prof, and it turned into a big issue. We ended up moving groups, which meant for all my animation teachers, my 3D teachers, layout teachers, they all changed, but I was still in the same year as everyone. And I noticed like some of those classes, my grades were totally different, good or bad. And it just, a lot of the time it's like professors' preferences and what they've ingested and what they grew up on and what they think they should push for the lesson. And just know that like everyone's different, just like supervisors, directors, whoever you're going to work with in the future, like they all have a different vision, and you have to just understand that it's not your baby anymore. And it might not be something you're totally in love with, but you have to try to like work with them to match their vision to do your best. But don't get hung up on the number, be open, and yeah, just stay focused, stay goal oriented, I guess.
Tina, do you want to, I know I could give you this question too, but I kind of want to keep going with the questions that are popping in now, if that's all right.
I agree with what everyone said.
But do you want to jump onto this question, Tina? Have you guys ever dealt with a teacher who seems to only want perfection you can't seem to reach?
Oh my God, give me the T question.
I think Mackenzie already also touched on this. Now my camera went out.
Yeah.
No, it happens. Don't worry.
Totally. I've totally had crappy teachers. I've had crappy soups, and your value exists outside of their perception of you. And I don't know if I'm not gonna like advise other people on their experiences, but I know for myself, just like keeping my head down, doing the work I could, and acknowledging I will never give them what they want. And I will just do my personal best for myself, and acknowledging my values within myself is all I can do. Not gonna name names. I want to. If you go to school in the city, you're absolutely not alone. Like a lot of us have been through experiences like that. I didn't know Mackenzie had similar experiences, but like, oy vey.
Yeah.
It's all.
But you learn things from it.
You do.
It really widens your perspective as to like, all right, not everyone's going to be your friend. We work with a lot of amazing people and they're so nice. I think the artist community has literally got to be like some of the best people I've ever met.
Oh yeah.
And they're all, I mean, everyone I've talked to has been more than willing to share their knowledge and skills. So it's been a great experience, I think, getting outside of school. So just understanding it might just be temporary and not everyone's going to be your best friend, and that's okay. And maybe in your brain you switch the whole coworker light switch. You're like, you're not going to be my friend, but hey, I can work with you. We can talk and be professional about it instead of it having to get to you, because you kind of need to turn off that emotional side of yourself a little towards that person if they're causing you like harm in some way, but I get that.
Yeah. Yeah. And as someone like I've also dealt with my fair share with shitty teachers and soups, but the thing is, like, when you have somebody that's like trying to pry perfection out of you, they also know that they're not going to get like a perfect product from you, because there's simply no such thing as perfect. And when someone's being like really meticulous and really picky with your work, it's literally just for the whole like rite of passage of pushing you, just seeing like how far can this person go until they're just like, this drawing cannot be perfected anymore. It's sort of like a thing all artists go through with a teacher, where they just get like revision after revision, and it just no answer seems to be the correct answer. But the key is to, even though it's very easy to get discouraged, it always take every like comment or revision or whatever like nick they have at your work with like the most, what was it? I had the word. Oh yeah, with humility. Just be like, okay, sure, no problem, because it's that attitude that they're gonna notice from you. And yes, of course, like you may get frustrated, you may get agitated with it, which is completely normal. But it's more so just they're not doing it because they think you suck. Oh, I'm gonna pick on this person because they're not a good artist. I'm gonna put them through hell. It's mainly just like they see potential in you and they really want to see what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's that.
Yeah. We got another. Actually, how much time do you guys have left? Because we got two more questions here, or one more question.
Okay, I'm good until like 10 o'clock.
Yeah, same.
Mackenzie?
I'm good for whenever. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that means people can keep sending questions if they want. So for this next question, so I'm currently working in the industry and spend my whole day drawing / working at my computer for work. I have a lot of personal projects and art I love to do in my spare time, but I find the challenge I have is that once the workday is over, I'm so tired of sitting at my computer hunched over a tablet, I just want to flop over and watch Netflix for the rest of the evening. Are there ways to combat this? I feel like it's a combo of mental burnout, but also just physically being at the computer all day.
Yeah, I can identify with that, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That was actually today. Today was just a huge work day, working on nothing but shots, getting things animated and like all finalized and whatnot. And by the time my shift was over, I didn't even want to look at my computer. I don't even want to look at it right now. I'm just like, oh my God, no, I don't want to deal with that, because But that's the thing. That's like it goes back to what I was saying about finding the wisdom to know when to take breaks, because it's so tempting to just stay at your desk, and I know, because like I don't like taking breaks because I think, oh man, if I'm not working, then what am I doing? But no, it's I'm learning slowly but surely that the downtime is an essential part of working, especially in animation, which is just such an insanely taxing job, like especially, you know, when it comes to crunch time. So like it really comes, and those those evenings you have where you just flop on the couch and watch Netflix, that is valuable time. The reason why like you're most likely feeling like not very fulfilled by it is because you're working all this time, and then finally you just crash, and that's not going to feel as good as if like you're gradually taking breaks. There's a cool little thing called the 2-minute rule, where if you're finding that you're too like tunnel visioned on work, take 2 minutes, focus on something else, something completely different. Doesn't even have to be work related. After 2 minutes, come back with a fresh set of eyes, and then work from there. So that's my answer.
That's so dope. I've gotten a lot better at managing personal projects, but it was like such a difficult experience for a long time. Like I feel like for all of us, like as artists, like this is so relatable. And I would ask you to ask yourself, like, how much time and effort are you putting into your workday? Are you overdoing it a bit? Are you eating lunch? Are you eating breakfast? Are you taking breaks? Give yourself 8 hours for that project. And if you're like, yeah, Tina, I'm doing that. Oh God. What I like to do very, very mathematically, and this was also great with fitness, is I set very hard boundaries, and I made them like more lax than I wanted, if that makes sense. So like if you have a personal project, and you don't have a time frame in which you want to complete it, if you just go, okay, 30 minutes once a week. And if your workday ends at 5, if you make plans with your friends at 7, you have that small window to get ready to see them. You're like, fuck it, might as well do it. And you set those really, really lax parameters, you'll find yourself over time, like I'm talking a period of years, wanting to do more. With fitness, that was the thing where I was like, okay, I'll do it once a week. And then I was like, and I'm at a point where I do it every other day now, because I'm just like, this is a thing that is no longer a labor, that is now a joy. And it sounds like right now your values are a labor. Like you want it to be done. You don't want to do it. You just want it done to have a finished thing. And we all want a finished thing. But finding the joy in doing it and giving yourself permission 6 out of 7 days to watch Netflix will take the edge off a lot. Actual mathematical, like try advice. I find that is like, it works for me. Yeah, I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, give yourself permission. Like, it is okay. It is okay to take time for yourself and just vegetate. And you're tired. You were creative all day. You were kind of forced because it's not really your project. It's work. And yeah, give yourself permission. And then like sometimes, like I found I was having a hard time finishing some video games that I really wanted to get to the ending of. And I had a coworker just tell me, hey, just in your week, carve out time. Like, you know, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, you do work, you go to the gym, and then you make dinner, and it's pretty much bedtime. Maybe you draw a little late because I'm a bit of a night owl, but like, you know, Thursday, carve out an hour and just make sure, like, Thursdays, that's my day where I need to do this. I need to play this game so I can get to the end. And you can carve out as much time as you want, or, you know, change your schedule around every other week if you want. But maybe it's at a point where you've noticed a habit and you want to get back to personal work. Well, maybe you need to actually like figure out a schedule for yourself. Days that you allow the Netflix and you feel really good about it and it's fine. And days where you're like, all right, no, like I'm not going straight to Netflix. I'm just going to take an hour, doodle something. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to be a finished product, or if you're sculpting or whatever your creative outlet is, like whatever makes you feel good outside of Netflix, like try to push yourself in that way. I feel like I had another point.
Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, when you're working, like throughout the day, I find what helps me when I get into really bad ruts is, like I said before, just listen to other artists talk about their passion for drawing, painting, sculpting, like whatever it is. Listen to other people, the animation process, because you'll start to feel like motivated, and maybe you'll want to stop working and then just draw. Well, save it, bottle it, save it for later, save it for that hour you scheduled out or whatever. It might spark something back to get you out of that rut. It works for me a lot of the time. So it's worth a try. Yeah.
Oh, I love that so much. When I was like, I was working on a storyboard portfolio to apply for the job I have now when I was animating, and
Yeah.
I animate all day. And so now, like, it's so funny, like our test was like 100 panels or something of drawing. And I was like, oh, I'll do that in like 2 weeks. And my actual portfolio, I think I drew maybe 50 panels, and it took 4.5 months. Like, it took so long. It was like a crazy, like the bar was on the floor where I would draw a panel like every like 3 days, like one drawing. And I was like, and it's storyboarding. The drawings are horrible. So, man, it's okay for stuff to take a long time. Like, none of us are working on our magnum opus by any means. Like, oh yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of points you've all made. Breaking up your day and setting hard boundaries is really good. We all work from home, so that's also like a factor in this, which really sucks. But if you have like any way to commute in the morning or in the afternoon, just go out, take a 30-minute walk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's does wonders. Like, it helps your brain switch over, and from being completely tired from work to like, now I'm getting into a new mode for my brain to take action in. During lunch or during your break, I don't know if you have a coffee shop or even a convenience store to just take a walk to, and just like, even if you're just buying like a pop from the convenience store or something, just you gotta get yourself kind of moving and just away from your desk. And that really helps setting more boundaries for yourself and not staying at your desk all day. And then when it comes time to like, oh, I want to spend time on my own work and I have to draw at my desk to do like my own personal stuff. If you took that 30-minute walk, or you took that little break to go to the convenience store or the coffee shop, you can come back to your desk now and you're like, okay, now my brain is switched over to a new mode, which is personal creativity.
Yeah.
It's really hard to go from one thing to the other thing without your brain having a transition time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's like winding down for sleep. Like, you need that time for it to, yeah, you're right, transition. It's never ever a switch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, unless you're distracted all day and you're like over it and you're like, all right, whatever, I want to go out and do the other things.
Yeah.
It's almost never a switch like that. Like, even when I close my laptop, I'm still thinking like, oh God, I could have just got like a couple more renders in, or tomorrow morning I'm going to do this. It takes a while for me to like get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like officially stop thinking about work until like 3 hours after work. But that's just my anxiety. That's just anxiety. So don't
yeah, I feel ya. Yeah. Tina, do you shut off, or do you like, does it take a little while?
I feel like, actually, I'm just realizing to myself, I'm like, I'm a bit of a hypocrite because I don't think about work, but I'm really big into the TikTok game, and I'll be lying in bed being like, I hope that TikTok does well.
Yes.
Yeah.
We all have our troubles, I suppose.
I have a very good system of not eating breakfast or lunch, so by the end of the day, all I'm thinking about is eating dinner.
Yeah, you're so hungry.
And I don't think about work anymore.
Yeah. I will say, like, touching on the TikTok thing. Tina, message this person. Message Lisa first.
Anybody else has TikTok here, like, I will follow you.
Oh my God.
So I'll say, like, since you mentioned TikTok, I do want to bring this up. just in case anyone, wants to hear it, but social media for me, like being creative after work, a big push after, well, I'll say like my final year of college and when I got out to like keep drawing was to sign up for Instagram and just do like a fully, just my art is being put on there, whether it's painting or sculpting or whatever. And I find that I surround myself and who I follow isn't always, I'll follow friends and like, I'll follow you guys if you want to follow me, that's fine. But like, I find I follow a lot of artists who are like way up in California or who are in like, South Africa, but they're working on Disney and Pixar and DreamWorks and Sony and Blue Sky. And I surround myself with artists who are next level, who've been working on this for maybe 15, 20 plus years and who have really developed their skills and had amazing schooling. So I'm always comparing myself, and it's great that I have Instagram to keep me like posting and keep me accountable, because I like having a social media presence with my art. I really like sharing my drawings and having other people like it too and enjoy it. And maybe it sparks something in them. That's like the best feeling ever. Like just getting a compliment or like a comment on any of my stuff.
Girl, what's your Instagram?
It's a freaking highlight. Okay. So I'll write it, but
write your down.
It's the best, but it is also such a kryptonite because I'm always comparing myself to amazing artists, and they say it all the time. Be very careful with that because you'll start to self-doubt a lot in your own work. I do it all the damn time. And it honestly, like, it really discourages me. But then I get drawing and I build myself up again. And what I do a lot of the time is I take like breaks from social media. Like I sometimes switch it to my personal account, and then I look at the social feed there and I'm not seeing amazing art. I'm seeing friends from high school. I'm seeing like fitness stuff. I'm seeing, clothing stuff, just something different. Or I just stay away from it for a while because it gets just discouraging. Like, oh, I'm never going to be that good. Even though some weeks I might get inspiration from it. Others, I feel like as I'm drawing, I'm like, holy shit, this has been done before. Like, I can't even post this. I feel like I'm copywriting. So I have a hard time of like finding that balance of when is it too much? And I actually need to take a step back and realize that it's actually causing my stunt in my artwork and my want to draw. So you need to take a step back and realize like who you are, what you're, maybe you developed a style and you're loving it and you're flowing with it. You got to take a step back and like work on your own shit for a little while. Go ahead on Pinterest, find like reference and whatever, but like try to not get too absorbed into it. And it's super, super easy with Instagram. So yeah, I'll say like it's dangerous for a lot of artists, and you need to take a moment to realize like who you are as an artist, what you want to say, what you feel, and you don't have to replicate someone else's artwork. I love like 20 different styles in 1 week, and I'm never going to be a pro at comic book style and maybe, Chris Sanders style. Like I'm never going to be, at all ends of the spectrum. So sometimes you just have to take just a step back from it. So I'll just say be very careful.
Oh, I don't have aphantasia. I'm sorry.
I have no idea what that is.
I'm Googling it right now.
I don't know what that is. Oh no, we're old.
Oh God.
I do a side part. I'm not a middle part.
I have.
No. I would look terrible with a middle part. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Do any of you have this? It's the inability to visualize mental images like you can't in your mind's eye.
Oh, I just learned about this. No, I don't have that.
I also do not. I
very much see everything very visually in my brain.
I don't see things well, but we play a game, like me and my friends play this sometimes. It's a game that is very much inspired from Tom Crook at Algonquin.
Oh boy.
Called Mutant Part. And
oh yeah.
So the game is in your mind's eye, you recreate cartoon characters, and whoever is the most on model gives a drink. So feel free to steal that. That's the game we made up. And so it's hard, like it's super hard. So
yeah, I feel like you never actually really know what something looks like unless you've drawn it like
Mhm.
50 times over, and you've actually developed like a little folder in your brain library. Like,
Yeah.
you never know. Like, I have looked up ferns and plants. I've looked up like what toilets look like. I look at it every day, but like I couldn't for the life of me draw one. And it's so funny. Something seems so simple, and it is like it's like a fuzzy memory of what the thing looks like. That's what I get. So I can't see it.
Yeah.
I don't have a
Actually,
photographic.
Oh, a short little PSA I have about posting art on social media. Do never, under any circumstances, let the algorithm get you down, because the algorithm is not your friend. There are some posts I make that get so many likes, so much traffic, and it's amazing. I'm feeling awesome. But then there are some posts I make, like maybe I'll just make like a random fan art, and it'll get like 16 likes, and I'll feel like crap, like, ah, man, I should have, why did I make that? I could have made that better. I could have. It's all arbitrary. It's just a bunch of numbers. It doesn't mean that nobody. It doesn't mean that people. What are my words? It doesn't mean that people looked at your art and said, "Ugh, no." It just means that the algorithm decided, nah, and just elected not to show it to anybody. Especially now with the new Instagram feed, where it just, as soon as you're done scrolling, it just gets rid of all the older posts. It's really frustrating, but please.
It must be nice to be in a category where you can worry about the algorithm. I don't have enough followers for that.
Kyle commented, I can draw Jeanette in my sleep now. It's a curse. And I have a quick story about Jeanette I would love to tell. When I was in second year, we were doing some sort of assignment with her, throwing a baseball probably. And
PTSD.
full stop admit that I got like a 40 on that assignment, and I was sitting in class and I was like, oh, I'm gonna draw Jeanette on a stripper pole. And then one of the people in my class, who was like 6'4", took that and like smacked it at the top of the chalkboard so I couldn't get it. And I was like, you know what, I gotta go to work, I'm out. And I left. But then at 9 a.m. we all go back to class the next day, and then Neil Hunter is there, and he like plucks this stripper pole like in a like, C-string, titties out, and
oh my god!
Did this. And I was like, and no, everyone had my back. And anyway, that's my
oh my god! I did not hear about this. That's amazing.
Mortifying, but like I never got caught. So everybody in this group, and oh my god, this is being recorded.
Again.
Like,
I mean, you're already a storyboard artist, so what can they do to you now?
I'm gonna fight him. And Neil,
I don't even know the amount of years that animation program has been in place at Algonquin. Like, I'm sure there's some crazy shit that's been drawing. Like, we all have like creative or artistic minds, and like the shit that comes into it, like sometimes we just gotta let it out, and whoever sees it. But as long as you didn't sign it, right? Or did you own up to it? Okay, you like sign a little signature. You're gonna be famous one day.
Thanks for coming to my TikTok.
It's gonna be worth a lot of money. Yeah.
Oh man, you can see the drawings in Keith and Jeff's office between the two of them.
Oh, I can only.
I knew it. We're all like kindred spirits. I love that so much.
If there's no more questions, we can start wrapping up now, though.
Yeah. It's getting close. I mean, I wake up super early every day, so yeah, I should get that.
Yeah.
Gotta wake
up.
This was awesome.
It was fun. Yeah, I had a great time. I hope you all had a good time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
This was fantastic.
If you put the drawing on the board, the tall man,
Yeah.
I won't sell you out.
But yeah, I hope everyone who was watching enjoyed the conversation. I'm going to try to organize another one for April. But again, thank you everyone who's joining us. Tina, Austin, and Mackenzie. It's been great to have you on, and I really liked all the side tangents we took.
Yes.
They're all great.
Wonderful. And thank you to all of you who came to this glorious occasion.
Hell yeah.
That was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw it up on YouTube at one point when I am not lazy and will edit this. We'll see.
No worries.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna end the recording now, and then you can stay around and chat for a little bit, or you can get off if you want.
I'm dipping.
Alrighty.
I'm gonna go make food.
I'm gonna get ready for bed, but it was great talking with all y'alls.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See you around.
Bye.